Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel, Avante-Avenue. I'm trying out something new on my channel. I've been wanting to do this for a very long time, and that is to start a podcast. And this is in addition to the other type of videos that I produce on my channel, Avante-Avenue. It is not in place of, so don't worry, nothing's going away. I'm Vicki, your host for this podcast. I'm calling this Reseller Recap. I'm a full-time reseller on eBay, been doing it since 2004, and I have my channel Avante-Avenue. I have over 200 videos for shopping hauls and pack and ships and a little bit of everything. But this, as I said, has been on the back of my mind to start a podcast so you can photograph and list while you listen. This is episode number 1. And in this first episode, we're going to talk about our sourcing recap for the last week, and I encourage you to leave comments as to what you found over the last week. We're going to talk about where we went, a few things that we picked up. We're going to talk about offers, accepting offers, countering offers, declining offers, and something that's been recently discovered where eBay is creating fake watchers, and I'll explain that later in the video, and see what else we can get into. We didn't do a lot of sourcing last week. We did go out on Saturday. I always love to go sourcing on Saturday. It was quite humid. It was in the 90s, and oh my gosh, it was so hot. There were a handful of garage sales, but we decided not to go to them because they were spread out all over the place. Instead, we decided to shop in air conditioning. We stopped at Bob Evans for breakfast on our way to the Johnson City ReStore. As you know, we love to shop the ReStore to resell. I have several videos on that. And I don't know about you, but we have the best ReStore ever. It is huge. It has departments and categories for just about everything from crafts to books to home goods, household goods, furniture, lighting, and even their vintage collection, their collectibles. When I shopped at the ReStore in Ohio, it wasn't nearly as nice, but back then it was still pretty new to have the home goods. And I don't know if all the Habitat for Humanity ReStore stores have home goods, but I encourage you to check it out. And of course, leave me a comment and let me know if you shop the ReStore to resell. I never even bother going into the home improvement area. It doesn't interest me at all. I just stay in the, like I said, the home goods, and I can spend about 2 hours in there at any given time. We found a few things, not a lot. Some of it I had to put back at checkout because when we looked at it closer, some of the glassware we wanted to buy had scratches and some dishwasher damage that you can't always get out. But on the way to checkout, literally just a few steps away from checkout, in their vintage section, their collectible section, I found something sitting on a shelf that seemed totally out of place. I picked up a set of vintage salt and pepper shakers by Pyrex. The pattern is called Woodland Brown. Paid $2 for them, and I looked them up on eBay while I was there, and they're selling for $20 to $23 plus shipping. So keep your eyes open for those little Pyrex salt and pepper shakers. You might be surprised. And with saying this, my point is they miss things. They don't know everything, and they can't pull everything from the store and put it in their collectibles section. So check everything out. And of course, ours has color-coded sale days, which helps. And I realize not all ReStores may have that. But if you shop at your ReStore, leave a comment down below and let me know what you think about it. And have you watched my shop ReStore to resell videos? Because I like to go there. We only go about once every 3 or 4 weeks, but we really enjoy going there, especially on a hot day like it was Saturday. Am I the only one that when I'm out sourcing for items to resell and I see someone else looking at stuff, am I the only one that strikes up a conversation with them just to see if they're a reseller? I have a habit of doing that because I guess I'm always wanting to chat and maybe make a new friend, a new contact. I'm always curious. And when I was in the ReStore, there was a lady that was shopping, and no, she didn't have her phone out checking comps, but something just made me speak to her and chat about, what she's looking at. You got to figure it's Mark and me together all the time. It's still COVID. We're still distancing somewhat. We're not socializing with our neighbors and things like that. So we enjoy chatting with other people. And this lady was looking at some stuff, and we struck up a conversation about what we were looking at and talking about it. And she said, I like to watch those YouTubers that buy and sell things. I wish you could have seen my face. At least underneath my mask, I was smiling. And I said, I'm one of those YouTubers. And she said, you are? I said, yes. And so she asked for my channel name, and she wrote it down. And she has subscribed to my channel, and I want to welcome Mama Kirk. Mama Kirk, so fun chatting with you at the Restore, and thank you for subscribing to my channel. And I think that's just great. You never know where a conversation will lead. I have ran into resellers from the Goodwill, and then I see them again at an estate sale, and you know, many of them are receptive to chatting just a little bit. It's really nice. I really enjoy that. And I'm just curious if you try to initiate a conversation with people that you see outsourcing, if they have their phones out, or do you like to be left alone? You know, are you one of those people like, leave me alone. I'm on a mission. I only have so much time and I don't have time to chat. And I understand that anxiousness, because when I do run into some people, I'm like, okay, I just got here. You know, I'm thinking in my mind, I'm enjoying the chat, but I just got in the Goodwill and I really want to shop. Does that happen to you? Are you chatty? Not chatty? Do you like to seek out other resellers, or you just keep to yourself? We also stopped at a small non-profit thrift store. It's called Haven of Mercy. And I did find some false graft bowls there that I picked up. You know, basic white bowls. A lot of people don't realize that basic, plain, white bowls and a lot of different brands can resell just fine. I think they're often overlooked by resellers because they're plain. You know, there's a plain bowl. So I picked some of those up. So I'll have a video coming out eventually with some of these finds in it. When I don't find a lot of things on one trip, I tend to combine several trips together, as you know I do, for one video, kind of a compilation of stops. But we had a good time, and we shopped in air conditioning and came back home to air conditioning. Did you get out last weekend to shop for things to resell? If you did, where did you go? Garage sales, church sales, Restore? Leave a comment. We have a listing on eBay, and when I say we, I refer to my husband Mark, because he's fully involved in our reselling business. And you'll see his hands and sometimes his face in the videos. He doesn't really like to talk too much, but he's there with me all the time. When we went to Big Stone Gap, you know, that day trip, we bought for $15 a Newmark, N-U-M-A-R-K, CDN 90 CD player. $15. Had the original box. It was missing a couple of cords. After researching it, I listed it for $329 plus shipping. This was based on other comps. We had an offer come in for $150. I'm like, whoa, that's quite low. I mean, yes, I'm negotiable. Yes, I start high, but that was quite low. It was $179.95 below list price. I'm sure you've had these kind of offers before. I declined the offer. Now, what would you do if you were offered $150 for something that you knew was valued at around $300 and could easily go to eBay Solds and prove it to yourself again that your price was within a fair range? Of course, we can accept it, we can counter it, we can decline it. And I didn't want to accept it because I thought it was quite low. And I honestly didn't want to counter it either. And I know resellers say, oh, you should never turn down an offer. Don't take a lowball offer personal. You need to counter it. Well, I didn't take it personal. I just didn't want to mess with it. So I decided to send the message that you better do better next time. And I declined it. What would you have done? Seriously, what would you have done? I mean, a lot of people think, oh, $150. Yes, I'll take the $150. But again, it is worth around $300. And we have the original box, which nobody else seems to have. And there's just a few low dollar components missing, which we might end up replacing. We're thinking about it. So they come back again, $150. And this time I decided to take a look at the buyer. They only had 40 some feedback. I went to their feedback page, and of course they had 100% positive feedback, because all buyers have 100% positive feedback. Of course they do. It seems so unfair that they have a lot to judge a seller on, but we don't have much to judge them on, other than he had 40 some feedback and he lived in New York. Someone else in New York was selling one of these too, and I thought, is this the same person? Are they wanting the good one for parts? I don't know. You know how our minds work when we get these offers. But in addition to the low feedback, I looked at the feedback that this buyer left for others. And guess what? In those 40-some purchases that they had, they left negative feedback on 3 purchases. That was a huge red flag to me. This person, obviously, or at least maybe, a little bit hard to satisfy. And so with that, I decided that I had no interest in selling to this particular buyer. In other words, I told myself, not my buyer. You've heard me say this before. Not every buyer is our buyer, and sometimes, many times, it's worth holding out. So I declined it again. And then 24 hours later, I got another $150 offer from the same person. Like, okay, that's enough. I decided to block this person because 100% they were not my buyer. I wasn't going to sell to them. Anyone that leaves 3 negative feedbacks for their sellers out of 40-some feedback is just not good in my book. What would you have done in that case? I trusted my gut, declined the $150 offer, blocked this person, and I'm waiting for the right buyer to come along. And I just want you to know that I don't take it personally when I get low offers. There's no ego involved here. It's more so like this. I've had a brick and mortar store before. I've had hundreds of garage sales. I've done jewelry shows. I've sold face-to-face with people for 10 years. I did that. I have a lot of experience dealing with customers. And you can kind of spot sometimes right out of the gate the ones that really don't care how much an item is worth. They care about how much they can get it for. And maybe that's just human nature. I decided to take the stand that, you know what? I really don't need to sell it that bad. I know that it's worth a lot more. And so I decided to hold out. You may not agree with me. That's perfectly fine. Leave a comment, because as you know, I'd like to know how you would have handled this situation. I guess it also comes down to this. How bad do you want the money? How bad do you need the money? How low can you go? I think we're doing the limbo now. Here's an example of why I don't always cave to these offers, why I hold out. I sold a lamp on August 18th for $40 plus ship. The buyer never paid. For 3 days, I sent an invoice over and over and over again, gave them plenty of time to pay, and they never paid. Once I closed this out and relisted it for the same price that I started with before of $59.95, I did put it on sale, and it sold on August 27th. Remember, on August 18th it sold, and they never paid. On August 27th, it sold for $50.98 plus shipping. So I went from $40 from a non-payer to over $50 with a good buyer who paid. And this happens frequently, that I sell the item for more than the first offer where they didn't pay, or more than the first offer or offers that I countered and or declined. So just some things to think about. I am curious how you run your business if you counter everything. But more importantly, I'm curious, do you ever decline an offer? And if so, what is the trigger that makes you decide to decline that offer? Leave a comment. So what do I mean by fake watched items? Have you ever just looked at something on eBay when you're doing your research for your own listings, and then lo and behold, within 24 hours, you receive an offer to buy that item that you looked at? That's what I'm talking about. This is happening to sellers, not just me. I've seen it on Facebook, various people saying, why is eBay flagging other sellers to send us an offer on things that we haven't actually watched? In other words, we only glanced at it. I don't know if it has something to do with how long we've looked at something, but we haven't liked it, we haven't saved it, we have no interest in the item, but because we looked at it, all of a sudden the seller thinks we're a watcher and sends us an offer. What is that all about? Has it happened to you? And I will say, at least it's not happening on everything that we research, when we're listing something. That would be completely insane. But it does make me really think about how I can send out 40 offers and I may only get 1 or 2 sales out of it. And I'm beginning to wonder how many potential buyers, how many people am I annoying with sending an offer on something that they didn't even actively choose to watch. Do you see where I'm going with this? Just like it is for us as a seller to be invited to buy something when we're like, wait a minute, I just listed that. I didn't watch it. I have no interest in it. So why am I getting this offer? And again, if it's happening to us, it could very well be happening to just regular shoppers on eBay, not even sellers, just shoppers getting offers on things that they really don't want. They simply looked at it once. Come on, eBay. And to me, how I interpret that is how many of those watched items that I'm sending offers on are legit and how many are fake. I'll never know, but I don't think it's a good direction to be going, and I'd like to know if this is happening to you. This is your opportunity to comment, is it happening to you? I'm going to leave it there for today. Hope you enjoyed this podcast, and I'll see you soon.